Hello everybody, Tim Norris here, aka GreyElephant.
I'm Carmen Norris.
And welcome to a quick review by GreyElephant Gaming. Now today we're going to be talking about...
Kembles Cascade.
The battle at Kembles Cascade.
The battle at Kembles Cascade.
Pew, 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 pew. Okay, so the purpose of this video is to give our opinion quick and to the point. But what should they do if they want to know more about this game?
If you want to know more about the game, watch our live play, because you can see us play the game in real time.
No artificial or fake time is involved in that live play. No.
Well, we won't be running through it quickly just to give you an overview that really makes no sense. We're going to actually play the game. You can watch a full round or the whole thing.
Now, I have to warn you, I've got a cold, so I might be coughing through this. But also, I want to let you know, we do write down our thoughts ahead of time. So if you catch us looking down, it's because we want to make sure we don't miss any valuable information that we wrote down.
Yes.
While we were playing the game. So I am first on this, and I have to say my first impression of the game is that it is fun. I've had a lot of fun playing this game, but it can last a little bit longer than what you might expect. You would look at a game like this, you're thinking, maybe 45 minutes tops. I mean, even the back of the box says 75 to 90 minutes, so it's a little bit longer game than what you might initially expect. But the longer the game, it's kind of like the more baloney you're going to be gathering, which means you're going to be able to buy more upgrades for your ship, which means by the time the big bad boss man walks in, you're going to be laying the wood on him. So I like it.
Well, the game is always going to come to an end, whether you destroy the boss or not. You know, it's not based on an objective. It's based on the fact that you're scrolling the entire time, and at the end, the screen actually gets smaller and smaller until you run out of room. So that's good because you know how long the game is going to last. But I would have to say the scrolling can make the game really fiddly at first. First couple of plays, you know, I felt like we were doing a lot of work doing the scrolling. But the game becomes more enjoyable as that becomes second nature.
I agree. It took us about 3 games, I think, to get used to it.
Yeah.
And I like how you track the your threats. You've got threat that you got to keep track of, and this is determined by how many hostile aliens are around you or are shooting in your direction. But at the same time, you can try to alleviate that threat by moving around. And that gives it a real good video game feel because it's kind of like you're juking and weaving, trying to dodge it in bullets or trying to avoid the aliens.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a video game feel, when you run out of energy, your ship actually goes astral. Yeah. And so it really made me think of, you know, like Space Invaders or Asteroids where your ship's blinking or it's off floating around in space. Yeah. But unlike those games, which are mindless shoot-'em-ups, there are real decisions to make in this board game. I was really surprised that this game is deeper than what I initially thought. You know, you have to decide how to spend your energy. Do you want to lower your threat by moving more? Or do you want to stay where you are, shoot some more ships? You know, not moving can make your threat too high. Moving too much, you've used up your energy. And then you might have to decide whether you want to be destroyed or waste a whole turn just powering down.
And yeah, it almost feels like waste, but a necessary waste.
Sometimes it feels like a waste. I mean, you can buy things if you have enough blood.
Yeah, and another cool element are the power-up cards. And you can't underestimate these cards because they let you do things that are kind of like outside the rules by maybe giving you extra movement points, giving you extra bolognium, I love that word. Give you heat-seeking missiles, or just give you extra glory at the end of the game. So,
the power-up cards can make or break couple of turns.
Honestly.
I mean, you really need those. And you also need to pay attention to the mission cards and achievement cards, because if you are not getting points from those, there's no way you're going to win this game.
Absolutely. So final thoughts for me is that it's not an easy task trying to convert a video game format into a board game format. We've seen it fail in the past, and we've seen it be successful. I think Super Dungeon Explorer is a great game that they tried to convert from give it a video game feel, but it's a board game. And I think they've done well with this one as well. I want to say as well. I hate saying well, but there are a couple of negatives. In fact, I want to touch on these, but I don't want you to make this thing. Don't make this seem like a negative feel to the whole review. This is just a few negatives I just want to point out because these are kind of important points. Number one, the rulebook is a little vague. A few gray areas that makes it a little bit frustrating because this rolls into my number 2. There's a lot of times you're going to be referencing to that rule book the first few times you play because there's a lot of little symbols, and for a game that you look like and you're thinking, oh, it's a simple game, it's a silly little shoot-'em-up style game, there's a lot of things to keep track of, and it feels very fiddly the first few times you play. You know, what's that? Oh, it's a wormhole. What's that? Oh, well, what if I scroll into you? Okay, what if I scroll onto this? There's a lot of things like that that happen, and you're like, you don't really know what to do. So that can be a little frustrating. The last last thing I have is that I think Z-Man went very cheap on these components. I really wish that they would have spent a little bit more on the components to make it a little bit more, you know, the eye candy, you know. That is a big factor, I think, in a lot of board games. We want our board games, the ones that we enjoy, to look as good as we, you know, enjoy them. And unfortunately, this one doesn't accomplish that. Very flimsy, paper-like, you know, player boards and score trackers.
Yeah, they even kind of curl up when you're trying to use them.
Very cheap, very cheap. But, you know, I did only spend 25 bucks, so what can you expect, I guess, for 25 bucks? So overall, for that 25 bucks, great value, great game. I really enjoy this one and recommend it.
Okay, well, so do I enjoy Kembles Cascade. Well, I gotta tell you, I didn't think I would. Based on the looks of the game, based on the first couple of times we played, I really wasn't into this game at all. But upon multiple plays, I have discovered it's a lot of fun and I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean a lot. It's really, my opinion on the game has done a complete 180, so it's really surprising.
Don't say 360 because that came right back to the original.
It's very unique. I mean, I don't want to use a buzzword, but the only other space game I enjoy as much as this one would be Terra Prime. But it is a very different game. I would like to compare the two, if you don't mind.
I'm indulged.
In both games, you can upgrade your ship, which is awesome. I mean, I have tried so many games because that's what I want to do. Because I used to have video games where you could upgrade your ship.
Yeah.
And I could never find a game I was happy with where I could upgrade my ship because they're always like this, you know, big, long, 4-hour skirmish game.
Twilight Imperium, these super long games.
Right. And I just don't get into that. And then there was one other game that was a skirmish game, and it felt like it ended too short. You didn't get to upgrade your ship enough. But this one and Terra Prime both fit the bill for that. This one's better. Terra Prime, you don't really get to upgrade that much. This one, you have a lot more options. You know, you can go with a generator. You have to choose. You don't get to do all of them.
But with the different style games, though, too.
You get shields, lots of different kinds of weapons. Lots of different kinds of weapons, which is really, really cool. But the weapons are not used in skirmish, which typically, I mean, you can skirmish if you want to.
Oh, skirmish. We don't skirmish.
Terra Prime is primarily a pickup and delivery game. So the games have two totally different feels, and I'm going to enjoy playing both of them.
There you go. And that's a big positive to me because as long as Mama's happy, that means we get to play the game. So if, like we said at the beginning, you want to know more about this game, you got to check out the live play. And that's going to give you a great feel on how it plays out in real time. And as usual, we appreciate you watching.
Bye-bye.